Hello, and today I'll be taking a look at the Frost Dagger Loki from Thor The Dark World. These figures are made by Hasbro in the 1/18th scale. These are going for about £4, so let's have a look on the back. It tells you a little bit of the dio about Loki, shows him in a stance. It shows you that you can also get Thor and Marvel's Curse. So I thought I'd pick this up because Loki figures are very expensive, to see if it's worth the cash. Okay, so here he is, fresh out of the packaging. Before we get onto the figure itself, we will go on to his accessories. He does come with two little daggers that are moulded in a gold kind of colour, and they are both different. As you can see there, you've got one that's like an in, and then you've got one that's like a sticky out. Do they fit together? Let's see. No, they don't. So we just have two different looking daggers here. I can't really recall those being in the movie. I do recall this one. This is the ice dagger. This is what he's actually got. And it is sculpted reasonably well, but it is an incredibly bendy rubber. And due to that, the paint has just come off it as I've taken it out of the packaging, which is a shame. It is sculpted quite nicely, lots of detail in the top up here if I can get it into focus, but it is very tiny. So lots and lots of detail in there. It's just a shame it's such a bendy plastic, unfortunately. So that's all he comes with accessories. So if we get onto the figure itself, we try and get his head in, and we go on to sculpt work. The head seems to be sculpted very nicely indeed. Lots of detail in the face. Try and get it in very close so you can have a good look. There you go. Fortunately, there's quite a lot of overcast on the bottom. What colour is it being moulded out of? See, we can see it has been moulded out the black, unfortunately. So if you were to try and cut that little bit off, he would just be left with a black mark inside. It's just a peg on the top, so we can get that back on there. It does seem to fit nicely. The sculpt work of his jacket, it looks really nice. Lots and lots of details and creases in here, and it is this very bendy rubber, which is excellent because it holds its shape and hopefully it won't get in the way of articulation. Comes all the way up. It is a full coat. I think it is glued on somewhere. Let's just try and have a look. Or maybe not. No, it seems to be on just very tight, which is good because it's a nice fit. Come on, focus. There we go. So sculpt work on the arms. We have seen these arms before on a previous Loki figure. And down to the wrists again. Have seen all this before, and even the torso we've seen on a previous Loki figure, and then we've got another rubber bit that's been stuck over the top to make it look a little bit different. Down to the legs, and there is a pattern sculpted in there, and down to the bottom, more sculpt work on the legs, which makes it look quite nice. So if we go on to paintwork, the face has been painted very nicely indeed. Like I say, the only thing that really lets it down is that little bit on the side, and due to that I think it has missed a tiny bit of paint right there, and here on this side. So round the hair probably could have been a little bit better, unfortunately. There is a big blob of paint here on the side that's very thick when the rest of it is all quite thin. The hair though is moulded in that colour. No paint in there due to it casting very nice shadows on its own and he just having dark hair. The gold on the cape is a little bit thin. You can see a bit of the colour coming through, but the green on the arm has been done well. It's quite neat, that one. And the gold on the gauntlet, there are a few marks where it's chipped off. The hand is painted quite well. Well, it's painted okay. It does splash over quite a lot. And then all this down here on the jacket goes all the way down. That's nice. And then we've got a different bronzy coloured gold here Like you see, it's actually wearing off this material. So even though this material's great, like we saw with the sword, I don't know why they did it in that, but this material's great for its flexibility, but unfortunately it seems to be losing its paint as you go. There's flecks coming off on my mat as I'm doing this review. The gold here is nice. I do think this should be gold on here, but they've just got a little bit lazy, and the detail in the legs should all be gold going through as well, and on the knee pads, but they just seem to have skipped that off. So if you lift it round the back, obviously the paint just goes from here, and then when you can't see, they've just cut it so that you don't get it anymore. So articulation, like say the head is on a peg. Do we get any up and down? Because it does have a lot of hair. Tiny bit, not a lot. But you can get it all the way round because the hair is quite flexible, which is good. The arm is on a peg and a hinge, and we can get it up, not hindered too much by the coat. And then on the elbow it is a peg and a hinge, so we can get it across the chest slightly. We don't actually get any wrist articulation in this figure, so that's a bit of a shame. We don't get any torso swivel or crunch or anything out of that. So onto the legs, the leg is on a peg and a hinge, and then another peg going into the bottom of the leg. Can we get it out to the side? You can get it out to the side due to this rubber. I'm very happy that they're doing capes and things in this. It is just the problem of it holding its paint. And then the knee is a single joint. It's a peg going into the top and then a hinge, and then we get no ankle articulation. And I think this is due to it being an Avengers figure that's just been put together and had this extra rubber bit added, and in the Avengers figures they didn't actually put that much articulation into most of them. So articulation's okay. It is lacking, especially compared to Thor, but it fits in with the rest of the Avengers figures. Paintwork on these figures has let it down. The head is done nicely, shame about that little bit of the sculpt. But apart from that, the rest of it is a little bit sloppy, could be a bit neater. So it's another one that you're probably going to have to touch up with some gold paint. Okay, so that is the Frost Dagger Loki from Thor The Dark World movie in the 1/18th scale. Sculpted nicely. Paintwork does let it down a little bit, and it is lacking a few parts of articulation. Out of the 3 figures they did, this is probably the middle one. But it's a Loki, and if you see him, they are going for about £4. And if you're looking online or after you can't find them on the shelves, you probably will be paying at least 3 times that. So pick them up if you can, because I do recommend this figure for a Loki. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more Rawpain reviews.